What's up guys, it's Sam breaking down grappling footage of one of the top Jiu-Jitsu content creators on YouTube, Jedi Does Jiu-Jitsu. For those of you who don't know who Jedi is, Jedi's channel has over 100,000 subscribers where he features rolling commentaries, fight breakdowns, vlogs, technique guides, and more. I'm really glad Jedi was down to this mini collab with me, and we plan on doing a real one together in person in the future. Jedi's a really good Jiu-Jitsu practitioner and teacher, and this grappling footage really highlights his level and technical abilities. He's got the skills to pay the bills, and speaking of skills, I'd like to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of super interesting and useful courses, so you can learn and discover new skills or deepen existing ones. They have classes on productivity, business, making a YouTube channel, editing videos, painting, arts, and everything you can think of. One skill I've been learning lately is vlogging, as I'm going to be vlogging my preparation to a match I have coming up in October against a tough and much larger opponent. To make the vlogs amazing and interesting for everyone, I'm taking How to Vlog Beginner's course by Brad Newton. I can't wait to show you this new form of content on my channel. Skillshare can help make your 2022 a year of new learning, growth, and connection through creativity. Skillshare is ad-free, so you can stay in the zone while exploring new skills, and new premium classes are launched each week, so there's always something new to discover. The first 1,000 people to use my link or my code JordanTJujitsu will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So let's get started with the roll, and Jedi inverts for no apparent reason here and finds himself on the receiving end of a double underpass. It's possible, but really hard to triangle someone with both arms out, and it's a wiser choice for Jedi to widen his legs like he's doing, so it becomes harder for Alex to lock his hands together. Peeling his hand off his hip like this is also a great idea, so he can get his feet back in front of Alex and re-guard. This arm drag could be more successful if Alex was on his knees, because Jedi needs to get his hips higher than Alex's hips to win the scramble. Alex backsteps into a leg lock, but Jedi's smart to use the instep of his foot to hide his foot from Alex. As he loses that grip, he's in more danger, but pushes on the foot with his hand to make room for his foot to do the rest of the work, prying his leg out and clearing the knee line. Here, the knee line is cleared and the threat of the leg lock is minimized. Clearing the knee line is how you escape basically all leg locks. Jedi should have prioritized controlling Alex's legs better, because here Alex can easily stand up. Anytime you lose position, or just in general, you want to control the legs, because if your opponent can't put their feet on the mat, then they can't stand up. And now you can work your passing because you have grips. Jedi does still keep top position anyways, but control the whole time would be ideal. Alex tries to get underneath Jedi, but the problem is Jedi's knee is on him and acting as a frame against him. Because my opponent's knee is on the mat, I can easily slide my hips underneath and start elevating him into my X guard. Both Alex and Jedi are giving up too much space for the underhook. They should keep their elbows tighter, because underhooks from either guy can be used to advance position in their favor. Here's an example of me getting an underhook from the bottom and using it to advance position. And here's an example of me getting an underhook from the top and using it to advance position. Alex starts off with his arm underneath his leg, which is great because it prevents the knee slide. The bottom leg needs to be flat on the mat to effectively knee slide, which he gives to Jedi, and now Alex doesn't have a lot of options other than taking an underhook, which Jedi is leaving a lot of room for. Watch how my arm underneath my own leg and controlling Nikki's leg prevents the knee slide. This is great for defense, but it's also great for offense. This is a reverse De La Riva and a much better option than letting your leg go flat, where you're susceptible to the knee slide and left with few options to attack. Again, Jedi's leaving too much room for the underhook, which is especially bad considering it's the only real option Alex has to advance. Alex really needs to pull Jedi forward using his underhook to make it easier to get onto his knees. Getting to his knees would allow him to advance position. Jedi tries to backstep, but Alex blocks his leg from doing so, just like you see me do here against Chewie. The problem is that in doing so, Jedi's able to connect his hips and get the positioning he needs to knee slide into side control. Jedi pulls up on Alex's elbow to keep him flat on his back and uses knee on belly to mount him, meanwhile jacking Alex's arm up so he can attack it when he gets there. I just think that Jedi should have worked a little harder to keep Alex's arm up high like this, as an isolated arm is what's needed to submit from mount in no-gi. Likely because he's having trouble isolating an arm, and he must feel the threat of an escape, because Jedi abandons position by windshield wiping his legs into knee on belly and then side control. They're just having a fun roll, so that's totally fine, but ideally you want to keep advancing position, because now he's in a spot where he's just looking to mount again, whereas before he had him in mount with an arm isolated and ready to submit. A lot of jiu-jitsu is about being disciplined to do what's right even if it's hard, and life's kind of like that too. So Jedi remounts him, and he could have also went for a rolling back attack from here if he wanted to get those style points, but mount was a great option too. Jedi's working to isolate an arm again and thinks about the guillotine, but Alex leaves no space to get underneath his head. Now watch this grip that Alex is going to take. He takes an overhook from mount, which isn't a great idea. Overhooks are great for connecting yourself to someone, which from mount doesn't really help you. What Alex should have done was work to prevent Jedi from coming up to a higher mount. because now Jedi does come up high, but Alex counters very well as Jedi tries to triangle him. By hiding his arm underneath Jedi's leg, he can't get the one arm in and one arm out that Jedi needs to triangle him. Alex does a great job of regarding. I think this video really showcases how technical purple belts can be. It's just small mistakes and grip choices, but these two are obviously really good. People often ask me the difference between belt levels, and besides a larger toolkit of techniques as you progress, it's really about making less smaller mistakes. The devil is in the detail in Jiu-Jitsu. Jedi tries for this cool back take but misses, and that's totally fine. I fail flashy techniques all the time trying to get my style points. It's the mistakes like letting someone grab your head or take underhooks, for example, that matter way more. To win any scramble, you need to get your hips higher, so that's what Jedi does. He gets his hips higher and he wins the scramble. You can't let people get on their side and turn towards you. That's what the neon face is preventing. I use it too, but only on certain training partners I know well, and would never do it in a painful way. This is a cool saddle entry and one I use too, and the saddle is my favorite place to finish leg locks from. It didn't seem like it was a super tight, fully locked in ankle lock, but it's better to tap early and tap often, especially leg locks, and especially when you're new to leg locks, you don't want to test your limits and regret it. So Jedi reaches back to break the closed guard, and is this okay or is this wrong? If he were on his knees, he'd risk getting triangled, but standing, it's unlikely Alex could reach his hips over Jedi's shoulders. It's okay and useful to reach back standing, but on your knees, your triangle is too risky. And Jedi was standing, so it's all good, and now he gets hit in the face. Jiu-Jitsu is a combat sport and accidents happen. If someone accidentally gets you, don't freak out and retaliate. Understand it's part of the sport. Unless they're being super risky and flailing, but even then, don't respond with aggression. Kindly asking them to chill is a lot more productive. Jedi's working the arm drag, and if I were Alex, I'd either disengage and reset or force Jedi onto his back. Right now, he's not controlling Jedi's legs or hips, which results in him getting swept with this beautiful butterfly sweep. Alex transitions into deep half guard, but Jedi steps over his head and into the knee bar. If I were Alex, I'd work to get to my knees because I don't see anything stopping him from doing so, and if he did, he'd be in position for an over-under pass. I just want to remind you guys you can pick up my limitless rash guard at xmartial.com or any other gear and use code Jordan10 for 10% off your order. They reset and Alex goes for an over-under pass of his own, but leaves his elbow too far from his body. This is called the open elbow and leaves you vulnerable to Kimuras and the Kimura trap. It'd be pretty tough to pull the arm out for the Kimura submission itself, but the Kimura trap is a great option. If Jedi can get his foot in the space between Alex's thigh and torso, then he can go for arm bars or take the back, and he chooses to take the back. Jedi only has one hook in, so it's wise to pull Alex to the other side where it's easier to put in his second hook. Jedi tries to trap Alex's arm with his hook to make it easier to sink in a choke, since Alex would have one less grip to defend with, but he isn't able to. Jedi decides to transition to the top, but first places his instep on Alex's thigh to ensure Alex can't take top position as he transitions. This is important to do because it ensures you keep their hips low and yours higher. Whoever's hips are higher will win the scramble. Jedi takes a gift wrap and does a chair sit back take like you often see me do. Instead of taking the back, he used it to get his hips higher up and a 90-degree angle on Alex, which is the angle needed for an armbar. To more easily break armbar defensive grips, you want to connect yourself by their wrist rather than the crook of their elbow like Jedi has right now. You often need to start with controlling the crook and then work your way to controlling the wrist like Jedi does here. This is important because it's the end of the lever where they're the weakest and you're the strongest. And if you connect your wrist to your chest when you extend, you'll be using the power of your whole body rather than just your arms. As always, I'd like to say thank you to my patrons who support the channel and everyone who watches. I super appreciate you guys, and if you're still here, please leave a comment or a fist bump, and I'll see you guys next time.